Welcome to Buzzbait, your way of something new each week. I am your host, Laura, and with me today are my co-hosts, Colin and Megan. And today, I have a story, actually, on this podcast. If we have any sort of accidents out and about, we share it. I was at work, funny enough, of course.
We haven't heard this.
I was actually, it was because I was laughing so hard that I peed my pants. And
we usually get like a preemptive.
Yeah, you normally, like, I'll tell you when it happens before, but this happened Friday. So this happened the 6th. It was very recent. June 6th, by the way, for future reference. And what got me about it, the reason I was laughing so hard is someone was telling me this story they had about how where they used to work, their management never lasted long. And I'm like, well, why? That seems like really weird. Like, you'd have like a new manager every like month or so. Like, that's really weird. And she told me about this story of just as an example of why management didn't last very long there. And it was about this woman, this older woman, like around 45, 50-ish, who just couldn't stop masturbating.
Jesus Christ.
They called
an employee, a customer, what was a hap?
So to read what this person wrote to me, right? She didn't quite understand the internet, and so she was logging into the same her same personal Google account that she used on her phone on company devices. And we were seeing usernames such as Domination Goddess, Stepson Wants Some, and history browsers involving cuckolding. She was saying it was just the most mind-bending shit, and of course she got caught. She got let go, but told everybody in the meeting that it was a personal choice to move on, but everybody fucking knew what the real reason was, but nobody told her. And this is the part that got me. This is the first part that got me. Was that bitch was making clam chowder before work, after work, and for hours daily. Super dedicated. For 45, I'd say she was healthy as a horse. And I was like, bro, she's just like me for real. And then the same person was like, I'm going to show you what she looks like. I didn't expect her to be like a nun, but it just wasn't what we planned. I'm not including this in the video segment because I want this person to stay anonymous, but I am going to show you two what she looks like.
All right, I'm going to be honest. You showed me that woman. If you did like one of those things where it's like, which person did which thing, and you like had like there's a 50-50 chance that I would have guessed that she was out here fucking flicking beans at work.
The same person, right? So she sent, who was telling me the story, she sent that picture and then also said, seems innocent, wrong, she wants to keep their wieners in a tight cage. And that's the part reading that. Literally in my text, I was like, I'm gonna piss my pants.
And then you did.
Dude, and then I literally,
so funny.
I said, so she said she wants to keep their wieners in a tight cage at 11:42 p.m. 11:43 p.m. in all caps, I'm gonna piss my pants. 11:47 p.m. I did. I then went to one of my coworkers because I ran to the bathroom. Once I was like, oh, I'm like, it's not stopping. I ran to the bathroom.
It's not stopping. So it wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna pee and then you pee.
It was like, well, it was like a little bit. You know when you pee like a little bit and then you just keep laughing and so more comes out? That's what it was. And so a little bit came out.
Laughing.
Whoa.
A little bit. Whoa.
Then you need funnier friends, first of all.
No, because I made the, like, I literally told you, I'm like, oh, I'm running behind, I'm booting on my computer, I'm gonna go pee. Like, I peed before I start laughing a lot.
I need you to chug 2 liters and then hop on the podcast with us one day.
Can we make Megan piss herself?
Can we make her piss? So I ran to the bathroom, and as I was like in the bathroom in the stall, I noticed on the front of my shorts there was a little. It looked like an upside down heart. It was very, very small, but it was a little stain. And so then I came back and I was like, oh well, maybe like for some reason I didn't really think to like check myself in the bathroom, being like, well, did it look like I peed anywhere else? And so when I got back upstairs, I asked one of my coworkers, because he came up not too long ago, and he was just like, hey, how you doing? He had no idea that I ran to the fucking potty, by the way. So he comes upstairs because he wants to give me a popsicle because it was hot. And so I immediately turned to him and I'm like, does it look like I pissed myself? And I gave him a, a twirl. And he told me, he's like, I don't want to look at you like that. And I was like, just tell me.
I need to know.
I was like, I need to know.
Okay,
and
hold on.
Right.
He said yes.
Fun fact. If I didn't know that you didn't like men and you told me your coworker wanted to give you a popsicle, I would have assumed that you were all about to like sneak off and start fucking.
No, he gave me like one of the red like ice pops.
Yeah.
Genuine question though. Like, so you said, does it look like I pissed myself? Not, can you tell that I pissed myself?
Straight up, does it look like? Well, I told him, he said, so after I did the twirl and he was like, I don't want to look at you like that. And I'm like, yeah, just fucking do it. Just tell me.
This is important. This is like,
why I have to know, does it look like I pissed myself at work? Or am I going to walk past people and they're going to be like, ugh. But he said yes. And I was like, fuck. And he was like, I just wanted to give you this popsicle. And I was like, oh, thanks. And then I told him, I'm like, I did pee myself, by the way. Just because I thought, I don't know, I feel like, if somebody you don't really talk to is policy. Like, honesty's best policy. If somebody you don't really talk to is like, did it look like I pissed myself? Like, there's a good chance that they probably did anyways. And I'd rather him just be like, yeah, Laura peed herself, than be like, she just asked me.
Right, because I feel like, you know what, it's less likely to stick in your head if you know the answer, because you're not going to wonder, did it look like she pissed her pants? Did she piss? Exactly. You're not going to wonder that. You're just going to be like, Laura pissed herself at work one time, and then you're not going to probably think about it as much.
Exactly. Just own up to it. But that's my story, and that's not what today's topic is, but I had to share.
Yeah, you said parasocial relationships, and then you were like, but let me tell you
when you were like, oh, we're going to talk about parasocial relationships today, and then you were like, I have a story. I was like, are we already that famous? Hello?
No.
I mean, we've had, 2 comments from guys being like, that Laura girl, let me at her.
Hey, I mean,
if it pays the bills.
If it pays the fucking bills, at this point, sure.
Wow.
Shit, if it pays the bills, I'll bend over and let you reach up in there and feel around.
Make you talk like a puppet.
We're all ready for money, guys. We're ready to go the easy path in life. Anytime somebody wants to offer that money up, we'd be ready to.
Laura's gonna start selling fart jars. I'm gonna let people reach up inside me. Meg, what's your plan to generate money for the channel?
Yeah, Meg, what are you contributing to this group effort?
No,
feet pics?
Yeah, I could do feet pics, but I don't know that people want my Flintstone feet.
There's a market for everybody. I
don't have like dainty, pretty like women's feet. I've got like, I wear size almost 11, and I mean, depends. So like in New Balance, because my feet are so wide, I get away with like a 10.5, but I have to wear like a size like 11 in most other shoes because my feet are so wide. So I don't have like dainty, pretty women's feet. I got like feet that'll work. You know what I mean? They're putting in the work out here.
There's somebody gripping their keyboard so tightly right now.
Listen,
they're in the car fucking foaming right now.
I will. honestly, and I don't know what the going rate for feet pics is, but like I'll step on some shit too, like whatever. Like I fucking my feet, go ahead. And I'm not so fat that you can't tell the definition between like my I don't have cankles, so I got some good ankle stuff in there. So
I don't know if they're good ankles. I've seen you fall walking.
Well, they're not sturdy, but they're visible.
They look good. That's all that we need.
They may not be sturdy, but they look good. Also, turns out I have a genetic condition, so you're fucking ableist for telling me I got weak ankles. Turns out all my joints are weak.
To get dirty.
All my joints are weak. Fuck you. Ableist.
So today we're talking about parasocial relationships.
Form them with us and send us your money.
It's true.
Please.
I'll be your online male wife twink boy toy if you send me like $50 a month.
$50? You're selling yourself pretty fucking cheap there. That's not going to pay many bills.
Yeah, but that's per person.
I was just going to say.
And all I have to do is like send them pics of me looking submissive and breedable.
Which, easy.
Yeah, like buy me a maid costume and I'll wear it for like $100.
Get that.
We're gonna get
I want to be sexy, guys.
On the fish OnlyFans.
Right, anyway, parasocial relationships.
I don't understand them. I can't wrap my mind around them. But then again, I only form romantic attachments to people that I have already like an emotional attachment to, like a personal connection with.
I also struggle to understand parasocial relationships, and Meg and I, we talked about this very briefly when I brought up the topic, but I don't understand, not only from a fan point of view of like believing that this person that I'm only ever seeing on the other side of a screen loves me and knows who I am and is directly affecting my life in some big way, as if it was like a significant other or something. But I was also saying that I don't understand, I guess, as well from like a celebrity point of view. So the examples that I was going to bring up, one is this is something, the parasocial relationships, and this is very like terminally online coded, but a lot of Minecraft YouTubers, shut the fuck up, Meg. A lot of Minecraft YouTubers form these parasocial relationships, and they're able to do so because they have a much younger fan base than, I don't know, somebody like, I'm trying to think of like an adult star or something.
Like a family blogger or
Tim
something.
the Tat Man.
Yeah.
Fucking screaming at Call of Duty. Nobody's gonna like message him and be like, I love him so much.
Oh yeah, like Nick Merckx or whatever.
Yeah.
But they're able to
offense,
do so because
as a friend, I love Tim. He's very funny, but like nobody's out there like behind their computer screen going, he's my husband. I love him.
Like he belongs to me.
Right.
And the reason I was bringing that up, another one that I actually brought like an article for was about Taylor Swift. Because
I have a big one. When you mentioned it, I had to pull up the interview, but Sweet Anita literally had an entire like string of, I don't know how long it lasted, but she had a stalker, and at first she was like, just didn't bring it up, didn't mention it, pretended it wasn't there, and then she finally got the all clear from her lawyers, like he can't come after you because like he did this, and so then she like just did like interviews with people, and she just talked about she had a stalker for several years, and she like just didn't know what to do, and then like after finally like confronting him, I won't go into detail, I'll wait until like we talk about like in-depth stuff, but like she like confronted him basically legally, and he was just like, I just thought we were in love, and she goes, why the fuck would you think that?
Yeah, there's another example that I was going to bring was Robert Pattinson. He had a woman claiming to be in love with him and was kind of stalking him in some sort of way. This is old, so I don't quite remember the details.
Didn't Justin Bieber have a similar issue when he first became famous with like people's moms being like, I love him so much, he's like my little boyfriend, and it's like, stop.
Probably he had a lot of people be weird to him. But with Robert Pattinson's case, he actually brought that person on a date and then just acted terrible the entire time to the point of like she just was like, oh, you're not who I thought you were, and just left him alone.
That might be the healthiest and best thing for her, because it doesn't just like break the connection between him and her. It also gives her the perspective of, this person is not this character that you've made up in your head, and none of these people are likely that person that you've made up.
Exactly.
So I think it will hopefully help her in the future not form those relationships either, not form that connection mentally, because she'll be able to address the fact like consistently of like, oh well, this wasn't what I thought. Like it'll always be there because she's had that experience. I think that is like the best thing that could have happened, to be honest. I mean, she could have gone psycho and killed him, so like there's always that option when it comes to fucking like unstable stalkers and stuff like that. But I think that actually is probably like the best like case scenario, because it gives that like situation an example.
Right. It's exactly like you said. It breaks that fantasy. It really is like emphasizing of like, I don't idolize people, like especially like big celebrities like that. Also, I realized for the audience, in case you don't know what parasocial is or means or like what the fuck we're talking about, I do have a definition. It refers to the one-sided connection or imagined connection between a regular person and or fictional characters, celebrity, public figures. Just because I realized we jumped right into it and I was like, oh, somebody may not know what the fuck we're talking about. But I feel like too with parasocial relationships, it's something that's much more common in like the age of social media, where it's celebrities. I would say a good like probably 99.9% of celebrities have their own social media pages, and there's definitely some that are running them themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, I couldn't even give you a guess on that percentage, but
right,
being able to have a direct connection in some way to somebody that you idolize, and then that person is saying, I love you all the time. Like, if you're real lonely, it can really get to you, I bet.
I don't know a ton about it outside of like the representation of it, because I don't really follow things like idol groups or K-pop or stuff like that, like where they have these groups. But to my understanding, based on the stuff that I've read, there's like a lot of like that like level of like fan service and like connection with the crowds, where you're like, oh, I like, there's a lot of like, I love you guys, do you love me, and like banking on that relationship and attachment to a singular person. And I think that that's why a lot of times like there's a bunch of stuff about like them not being able to date and stuff, because it can hurt their image, because it takes away from...
I was just gonna bring that up.
That could be a whole other podcast topic, is us diving into K-pop idol culture, because it's so bad.
Yeah, it's like the companies
teach me about it, because I don't know in depth much about it at all.
Right. Yeah, it's the companies and agencies that like sponsor and like build these groups actually tell the men and women that they're training of like, you cannot get in a relationship, like you cannot break this image that your fans are going to have of you. Like, that's how damaging it is, really.
Yeah. But they just like bank on this like attachment that people form, and I think that that's pretty crazy. But it's like one of the first things that I think of like when you said like people are like, oh, I love my fans, it was like the first thing that I thought of is like that kind of like back and forth with fans specifically.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Before I hop into my article here, Colin, did you bring anything?
Yeah. So I'm trying to find something that, because like most of it is obviously like clips from her video talking about it, but we can't play those for obvious reasons. Right. But yeah, the only part I'm having trouble with is finding just like a text-based thing. But basically, she's dealt with it a lot, but like I can at least get you the date okay, there we go. It was sometime in the year 2020 where she finally like came out and like talked about it. And part of that was reaching out to other mostly female streamers, because I don't think this is something that happens to men very often.
Right.
She had reached out to a bunch of different streamers to get their stories. I know Pokimane had like a bunch of like stories that they talked about, but she had a stalker for I don't think it specifies how long, but she refers to it as she had issues with this person for more than a year, of this guy like just following her and occasionally even approaching her publicly. And Ooh. When she like refused his advances, like he would threaten her in public. And I believe she tried to go to the cops, and they were just like, well, until he does something, like we can't really do anything about it. And it was just like,
of Jesus course.
Christ. Yeah. It's like, Jesus Christ, guys. Well, I don't know what the difference is, but I believe she lives in the UK.
I think that if someone stalks you, you should be able to hire someone to kick their ass. Like, if you go to the police and the police are like, listen, nothing has happened where they've physically harmed you, then you should be like, cool. And then the police give you, like, a one-time pass to, like, stab that person a little bit. Like, a non-lethal stabbing.
A little bit.
Like, a non-lethal. Like, obviously, like, don't kill the person, but, like, a non-lethal stabbing, macing the person, and making them have to, like, sit maced for a while. Or like having like the biggest fucking MMA fighter that you can fucking hire beat the ever loving fuck out of the person, and one of those things, like break the fucking person's jaw. You know what I mean? Like of any of the.
No, sorry. I was double checking the page, and this page is actually super great because it has links to a lot of related things. Like there's one specifically where Sweet Anita and the streamer's name is X Choco Bars. They actually work together to expose how little the police do for stalking victims.
Oh, good. Yeah. That is cool.
I propose that as a new law. Like, if you can prove someone's stalking you, that's when I run for president one day, that's going to be part of my presidential campaign. I won't get elected as president because of this podcast, but
I don't know. This might be good fucking like presidential candidate. Like, I'd want you representing me.
Hell yeah.
I'd want you traveling around the world and building our relations.
But, fantastic. Yeah, so she had this stalker for like a year or over a year, she says, and she started collecting stories from other female streamers, and it's a very unfortunately regular occurrence for like big streamers. Like one of the ones that she talked to was Pokimane, and Pokimane's even like on her own talked about like no matter how hard they try and like draw the line, like, hey guys, I don't know you, I don't like you. Like, we're not dating. We're not, like, best friends. You shouldn't be, like, telling your parents about, like, that's weird. You need to stop.
Mm-hmm.
You just can't stop the people from doing this. So, and then finally, like, she finally, like, got a case, basically, and got this guy. I think she at least has a restraining order against him, but I don't know if he ever, like, got sent to jail or prison or whatever. But after this, after this happened,
you're already in danger.
Right. After this happened, and she was just like, well, if I just come out and say, like, this was my experience, you know, like, it's the classic, like, well, who cares? It's not true. You're making that up for attention. So, again, that's why she went around and, like, started asking other streamers, like, is this something you dealt with? And then it just revealed, like, this horrifying, like, this is just something, like, every woman on Twitch has had to deal with at some point. I think Amaranth also had a big problem with it.
She did. Yeah. I remember that.
One of like the specific note of when he like physically like confronted her. He literally moved within 4 minutes of where she lived and followed her into a store and chased her out into the street, reportedly while carrying a knife in 2021.
And the cops were like, well, he didn't actually stab you.
Yeah, and the cops were basically just like, well, nobody else really saw that he was holding a knife or threatening you with one, so, like, we can't really do anything. Yeah, and, like, a lot of the article and stuff that, like, was gathered, it basically just kind of starts to summarize everything. It's like, it's the unfortunate
reality.
The unfortunate nature of being a good Twitch streamer is trying to build a connection with your chat, And unfortunately, that just means there's some people who are going to interpret a different kind of connection.
You know what, though? I feel like the unfortunate thing is, like, there are a lot of streamers who are reliant. I mean, like, of course, like, in some way, like, you're giving a piece of yourself to, like, the fans. You're giving, something of yourself out there to the world to, like, have of you. But I also think that to different extents, like, we were even joking about, like, hey, we'll fucking give us some money and we'll have this fucking parasocial relationship with you. And I think that only kind of, like, because, like, somebody can look at that or look at that person and be like, well, they give me what I want. Right. So why won't this other person, right? Like, why won't this other person give me what I want? Or why wouldn't this other person have, like, in the same way? So I feel like that can definitely not be necessarily good. Like, I mean, everybody's out there to get that bag, but at the same time, it's like, I can see where it can make it worse, basically, for the people who are like, I'm not trying to give that much of myself,
right?
When the person next to them is like, oh, we'll give it all if you pay me for it.
When you bring that up, it makes me think of, like, now I don't have any statistics, I don't have anything to base this belief or whatever on, but I have kind of talked to you on a similar vein, Megan, where it's, with the rise of OnlyFans, there are a lot of OnlyFans models and sex workers that collaborate, quote unquote, with their fans, of being like, oh, you pay for my content? Great, I'm moving to your city and you can come fuck my holes and be a star in my whatever.
There's that, and then there's a few that also, like, I've seen basically say, like, oh, if you pay for, like, this extra X amount a month, like, I'll be your online girlfriend. And I was like, that's such a dangerous road to walk.
Right. And I can only imagine that it's like, with the being like, you pay for my content, I'm coming to your city, you can come fuck me. And also the, like, I'll be your online girlfriend for, I mean, the price you fucking put out there, like $50 a month, I'll be your online girlfriend. Like, it's, it like I said earlier, it accelerates it, it encourages it to an extent, which, again, you're trying to get that bag, you're trying to get profit. But Meg, you look like you're dying to say something.
I am. So on this topic, there is, like, not even, like, necessarily famous people, but if you're on top of, like, online girlfriends and, like, cam girls and stuff like that, there's that true crime story about the guy who went, like, $80,000 in debt or something and then killed his entire family because they were like, you're addicted to this relationship and she's taking advantage of you, and he literally killed his entire family, and then he went to jail, and apparently, here's what's really fucking me up. I think it's him. I think it's this exact guy that I'm talking about. But he then formed an online relationship while in prison with one of the people from, like, Ghost Hunters' wives. And this dude, okay, so I don't remember who it is because I don't really watch Ghost Hunters, but I think it's, like, Zach Baggins, one of his fucking team, right, married this woman and thought that their relationship was fine, and then she started talking to this dude, and he was like, I'll get a phone smuggled to me, and then I will set up a hitman for you to kill your husband so that we can be together while I'm in prison. And fucking insane.
Yeah.
Not only did he have a problem forming these online relationships that got him to kill his entire family, but then she formed a relationship with him via the internet.
That is something that is an issue, and I feel like people don't talk about it because it almost comes off as, like, victim blaming for the people who are being accosted by these people. But there is the other side of the coin where the person making the content and who would usually be, like, considered the victim of this, there are cases where, like, they feel the need to build these connections to just, like, have that.
Yeah.
But people don't talk about it a lot because, like I said, it almost comes off as, like, victim blaming. It's like, oh, well, you guys actually want this. That's why it keeps happening to you.
I think it kind of comes off as victim blaming because, for the most part, the most examples that we have of it are when someone tries to make connections with their young audience, like children, like we talked about the Minecraft, you know, creators. So it's not like victim blaming where it's like, oh, well, I want to talk to fucking Dream, and then Dream starts talking back to me or whatever. I mean, we can fucking say anybody. I don't want to fucking.
We could say anybody, but Dream is like, when I said Minecraft YouTubers, he's like number one on the list.
Dream got drunk and got into a vehicle with, what was it, Tommy in it? And Tommy recorded Dream yelling the N-word and talking about how he really loves his fans.
Mm-hmm.
And then like Dream and his team tried to like destroy Tommy's career, and the whole internet was like, why did you get into a vehicle drunk with this other creator who's like 5 years younger than you?
And then basically say that you like kids because you're
and like so like
really
in his effort to smear Tommy like came out and like posted more evidence, and everybody was like, Dream's just like nuking his career in real time.
So okay, so I'm more comfortable saying Dream. Anyways, so like
yeah, Dream's
like
garbage.
Or what's that chick who did the ukulele apology? I don't even know what her name is.
Miranda Sings. I don't know her actual name, but it's Miranda Sings.
So, but she also was trying to form that relationship with a very young audience, and it maybe wasn't a sexual one inherently, but it was this dependency, this connection that she was seeking with her fan base and her audience, and kind of relying on their interest in her and her work that she was putting out to kind of keep this relationship and keep this like outlet for her, like whatever she needed from that relationship. Now that like, because they're all young and because they're all children, it does seem very victim blamey to be like, well, why were you also talking to this adult? You know, like why you reached out and then this thing was formed, and so I can see where that's victim blaming. But as an adult, you should be able to recognize, like, hey, this isn't a healthy dynamic and relationship, and so I don't think it's victim blaming to be like, hey, like they were being weird and taking advantage of you as an adult, but like you did also keep coming back, and so then this is just a learning experience of what a toxic relationship and interaction looks like for you.
And because we're talking about like people that have younger fan bases,
I was
gonna say like it also falls on the parents of not
I was gonna ask
attention.
It's the parents, and
I was gonna ask you for more details, Laura, because I know you have more, like you remembered more of the information last time we talked about it. But with the Achievement Hunter and Funhouse thing, weren't they both talking to underage girls, or was that?
They were both talking to underage girls.
Okay.
For those that don't know the situation, you can look up Adam Kovic, Funhouse, and Ryan Haywood, Achievement Hunter. Right. And I'm sure you will find tons of information.
You said that when you looked up the Adam Kovic thing, like it's one of the first results was just every bit of information regarding his case.
Yeah, you look up you don't even have to add Funhouse or Achievement Hunter at the end. You just look up the names, and the first result is going to be like accusations, rape or like underage or whatever, just because like they were doing nasty shit.
And like in that case, because like there are the parasocial relationships where it's like it's just, I don't want to like dismiss it as like it's a small thing and it's not as big of a deal, but like it's the people who are obsessive, maybe stalking to like an extreme degree. And then you look at those cases and it's like these two men like preyed upon their female young viewers and convinced them that like it's okay, like I'm a big name and all this other stuff. And it's just like, it's that thing where you have parasocial relationships where it's just like this person just thinks like, oh, we're actually in love and we're dating. And then you have the other side of the coin where it's like, I can control these people because they love me.
Exactly.
Yeah, and again, I think that when it comes to like people who are underage, it's like it's the parent, it's the adult in the situation. But when it comes to like an adult reaching out and then ending up in a toxic situation, I understand that the power dynamic is very different because the famous person generally comes from a position of power. But also, I think that usually it's more of a learning, it's more of like a, hey, well, you've learned now that the person is not who you believe that they are. It's not this idolized person. Like you came in thinking that, oh, this person's so wonderful. Like with that Robert Pattinson, example, right? Like she came in going, "Oh my god, this is, this is this
Like
amazing person, this,
yeah, he's
oh
a
my
god
god."
on earth.
Right. And then is it shitty that he was maybe like abusive?
Yeah,
Right.
like good on him for having the idea like, oh, this person thinks they're in love with me. I will make sure that they stop feeling that way immediately.
Right. Well, and that's the thing. Was he maybe like kind of like verbally or emotionally abusive? Was he like shitty to people around him or something? Like he had to do shitty things. And I
Right.
don't think it was just him like looking frumpy and fucking
Well,
being
that's the thing
slobbish.
though,
I
is
doubt it
like
was
in
that.
my mind, because like I've seen interviews and stuff with him, and he's genuinely like he seems like a good dude. I almost wouldn't be surprised if he like told the wait staff like, "Hey,
I'm gonna be an asshole
this
to you."
person's weird and creepy, and they're like basically stalking me.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to yell at your workers, and then as soon as like everything's done, like I will, or like maybe he even like gave them money ahead of time. They're like, I'm gonna like pay you guys all really well. I'm going to be very rude to you so that this person stops bothering me."
And I feel like that's very likely that he would have done something like that, or like explained after the fact at the very least.
Right.
Like I've been like, hey, listen, here's a huge tip. Like I'm so sorry that I had to do that, but I just needed a genuine reaction out of you, and I couldn't trust your acting skills to align.
Right.
So because like maybe the concern there would be that they were like, oh no, you're so mean. Versus like a genuine reaction, but anyways, what so with that situation, like what he was probably shitty to this person. And is that cool to be fucking verbally or mentally abused by someone that you idolize? No. But it taught that lesson to her that these people are people and not this figure that you're making up in your head. So where you can be like, well, he was shitty to her and that's not cool. I feel like because it's another adult, it's like, well, yeah, that's
Actions have
like
consequences.
right. Whereas with
Crazy.
a child, it's like, oh, these consequences should not be imposed on you. This is someone from a position of power and influence who is taking advantage of you. And I feel like that creates a different dynamic. So, and that's just me still talking about, it's like the victim blamey to say this, but it's like, yeah, I mean, it depends on the situation. Because is it victim blamey to be like, oh, Robert Pattinson was so mean to me, and it's like, well, you shouldn't fucking idolize and stalk people. They're gonna be shitty. So
we're approaching the 40-minute mark, and I would like to talk about
you said you had a
Swift
lot prepared.
And I came up with this idea for this topic because again, we are recording this on June 8th, and recently, I want to say like 4 or 5 days ago, it was announced that Taylor Swift now owns and is in control of all of her music, which is great for her. Every artist should have that ability and that right. I totally agree with that. However, her fans' reactions to her being able to be in control of all her music, getting that right back to her, right? Just seemed like, obviously, to me, being who I am, I was like, this is so Swiftie coded. But also, like, even looking at it from an outside perspective, I'm like, why are you on the floor sobbing because a billionaire that profits off you can now profit off you more? But and it's not sobbing in like a, oh my god, I can't support her anymore. It's sobbing in a, I am so happy and I'm going to support her even more. Like, sort of tears.
Mm-hmm.
And it just...
I think that is an incredibly extreme response for sure. I do think that like some like level of excitement and like joy for this person that you have followed the career of is obviously reasonable. To be like, oh my god, like finally, like she's been going through this fight, she's been going through all of this shit, and now she's got her stuff back and she's in control. But like, yeah, I can't imagine like sobbing on the floor and like freaking the fuck out. That just shows like an obvious like instability, like to...
And it wasn't just one person, right? Like, there may have been other reactions that weren't recorded or didn't get pictures of or whatever. But this was obviously because it's Taylor Swift. It was trending that like she got this thing, and I was like, oh, like again, I don't really care for Taylor Swift too much, and I was just like, oh, good for her. Moving on, right? Kind of, I guess, a bit more of a normal reaction. Not to brag, but and then
you're not emotionally imbalanced and attached to famous people. You fucking normie.
That's so crazy. But the thing is too is that Taylor Swift has been doing this for years.
Train.
I'm waiting for the train to pass. But Taylor Swift she has been doing this for years. Like, I don't want to say it started when she was like, I'm in control of like this music and thus I'm going to re-release this album, which she of course has the right to do so. However, there's an article. This was written back in 2021 from NBC, but not the ABC, but not the ABC that we know. This is the Australian Broadcasting Corporation, but they wrote the backstory of Taylor Swift's extended multi-year campaign to re-record and re-release her back catalog of albums is complicated, legalistic, and only kind of interesting. If you're unfamiliar, and if you are, good for you, it involves Taylor Swift getting hers back on an allegedly nefarious former manager who sold her recorded masters out from under her. They also say that when most artists re-release music, it's usually packaged as an anniversary special and typically doesn't get that much attention. I feel like even just as a regular person, I don't even know that many Swifties or like people that would just call themselves like fans of her music. But when she started to re-release these albums, they were going nuts.
Yeah, because I feel like because people were aware of what was going on, because she was like, hey guys, this is why I'm doing it, and they were like, that's fucked up, you're right, and then they were like even more like fervently like supporting her.
And that's exactly what the next paragraph here says, is Taylor, being the master of public image, has weaponized her carefully cultivated fandom to reach a level of success unseen in modern music. I honestly kind of have to agree.
I don't know why, but that makes her just like sound like some nefarious cartoon villain. She's cultivated her fan base like, over all these years.
But it's the way that, I guess, she communicates or interacts with her fans. And it's not just that, but it's also how her fans interact with her music and interact with her and act like they know every detail of her personal life because, well, she released this song and it means blah, 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 blah. And it's just really crazy to me to have your fans that involved in your personal life.
About like, because like I don't really I enjoyed old Taylor, like we have talked about that. I enjoy some of her like pop songs. Like I think that she's got a great voice, talented, awesome. Not to say anything bad about her or anything like that, but like I'm not super following in depth into her personal life. Like it's not something that really interests me. She's just a human being who has incredible talent. Good for her. It's kind of how I view it. Now,
right.
I have seen weird things about like when she was on tour, people were like, these are the colors of clothes that she's wearing and these are what I think it means.
Exactly what I'm talking about.
And it's like that insanity level. People were like, I saw something about like they were like, looking back, you can see the because she's like with that football player
Travis Kelce, I think.
Yeah, there was I think it was just like a very small like just like one or two people, but I remember reading that somebody was like, this is the outfit she wore to the Super Bowl. Like when it started, they were just like, so that either means she's going to leave him at the Super Bowl or she knows he's going to propose to her. And I was like, you guys are fucking insane.
Well, not just that, but someone was like, they've like always been destined to be together because this number plus this number, and then this person.
Gematria.
I was gonna say.
Seriously, genuinely, it was like, well, they were both born in like 1987, and so then because they were born in 1987, and then this number from this, and then she got this jersey from his teammate with this number on it, and I was like, what the fuck, guys? Like this is
what are you
weird.
talking about?
Right, like just she's a person. She's a person who's got an incredible talent, but like why are you that invested in her life? Yeah, you can
And
love
she
her, you
doesn't
can care about her well-being, like, oh, I want this person to have a good life and do well because I think that they're incredibly talented and they deserve it. But that's where that should end, honestly.
And what gets me too is that she doesn't do anything to stop it. And again, to go back to the article super quick, to read off a couple paragraphs, they say every parasocial interaction a fan has with an artist, and they give an example of like commenting on Instagram or, you know, watching a TikTok relating to a lyric, whatever it may be. The parasocial relationship strengthens. You love them, but they don't know who you are, which brings us to Taylor Swift. On her Instagram, before Red's, her album Red, re-release, Taylor sent out a message to her 186 million followers. Again, at the time, this was 2021, but addressed it directly to you. She couldn't have done it without you, and the album is ours, aka yours and hers. So she doesn't quite do anything like she's famous not only because of what you said, Meg, of being like a talented artist, and I'm not going to disagree. I do think she's talented. I think she has good songs, but she's also like, it's well known that Swifties are fucking crazy. Like, and she doesn't do anything to try and stop that public image that she has and that her fans have.
But I think that like, again, like that just like is, you know, it feels to me like very similar to, again, like Japanese idols and like playing into that connection and relationship, and you know what I mean?
Definitely, but I feel like a difference here is that Taylor could say, hey, you're not fucking in my private life, stop, and still have a job and still make millions of dollars. K-pop idols don't really have that.
They don't get as, they haven't reached that level, because like she could say it now, but if she said this early days, that's the thing.
Well, yeah, of course. Well,
right.
I feel like it wasn't that bad.
Well, I mean, early days in like early days of the emerging Swiftie. So like after she had blown up, but like before it got to the level of like her clothes are a conspiracy that we must unravel. Like before it reached that level, like early days of Swifties. Ooh, right. There is one thing that I did want to touch base on. So, I believe that this year, last year, like within some recent time, you guys all know Selena, right? The Mexican-American pop sensation that was killed by her employee. Mm-hmm. That employee was actually the head of her fan club, to my understanding. You know, like first #1 fan. And so that was another thing of like, oh, these relationships, like sometimes they accept these people who are very close to them and in their, you know, like fan stratosphere into their lives, and it becomes incredibly dangerous, you know. And I mean, this was somebody who seemed like a normal person, and all came tumbling down.
Yeah, I think. There's also celebrities that end up marrying fans as well. Right. So it's like, you know, somebody looking Elvis at that and then being like, oh well, I also have a chance.
Yeah, like Elvis. I think his wife was a fan. She was also a fucking child, but she was a fan.
But she was a fan, yeah.
But that's the thing. I mean, it's like, I mean, a while ago, you know, we're talking about like content creators and like talking to like underage people, but like literally rock stars. I think like Mick Jagger and Elvis, and I think it was Mick Jagger that like someone's parent was like, oh yeah, you can have guardianship and let my child, like who's 16, travel with you.
Yeah, that was nuts.
I think it was Mick Jagger that did that. It was gross. It's super gross and weird, but like, you know, 30 to 50 years ago, like that was just something that happened and existed. Mm-hmm. And so
I mean, there's also I can't remember his name. There's an actor who like adopted a kid and like helped raise her, and then when as soon as she was 18, like disowned her. Yeah, disowned her and then married her. And I was like, that's, you need to be put away and that girl needs to be rescued.
Yeah. Well, think about it. I think it was it Elon Musk's father that also like got with his stepdaughter, like was with this person, like helped raise her, and then later in life she was like, oh hey, what's up? And he had like divorced her mom at that point, and then they fucked and she got pregnant. Insane.
Ooh. I don't know the facts to back that up, but I would believe it.
I think it was Elon Musk. It was some rich fucking dude, and I was just like, this is fucking nasty.
Yeah, y'all are gross.
All right. Well, on that note, do we want to hop into the question? Does anybody have one?
I just thought of one yesterday, and I thought it would be super funny. And now that you asked me what it was,
gone.
I have a topical one.
Every question in the universe isn't real anymore.
All right, Meg, hit us with it.
So I know that we all just spoke on, like, why we wouldn't and why we don't understand and why it's bad to form these relationships. But if there was a famous person that you were going to get obsessed with, who would it be?
I don't know.
The closest I can get, let me answer first, and then you guys. The closest I can imagine getting is like there are a few famous people that I might get like emotionally like a little bit overwhelmed, not because like I'm obsessed with them or their lives, but because I'm like, wow, this is somebody who has like been somebody that I've seen in their profession and who has like brought me a lot of like joy and like laughter and like experiences. And I might get, like, a little bit choked up if I was like, oh my god, you're really here in front of me. And, like, that is very rare for me because, like, I don't think that there's anybody that I would care so much about. But I would think, like, Melissa McCarthy. Like, I think that she's so fucking funny. And, like, I used to watch her, like, back on, like, Gilmore Girls days. So, like, and so I'd be like, holy shit, it's fucking Melissa McCarthy, somebody who I rely on to make me laugh a lot. So, like,
right.
I think that might give me like a little like, oh, but beyond that, but if there was anybody that I could say like that I would be like, oh, about seeing in person, it would be someone like that. I think.
I feel like for me to get obsessed, they have to be obtainable in some sort of way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's lower the bar because again, we did talk about like the fact that we mentally just really can't get obsessed so much, but like if it was just someone that you would be like just like actually like star-stricken, like
oh well, I already okay so if it's like just strictly being star-struck by this person, I know exactly it would be Erin Zek, aka voice of Blake Belladonna in Ruby, because her voice is hot, she's fucking sexy. 100%.
In terms of like just somebody like I've already like fallen into a bit of a rabbit hole with like, because for those of you who watch WWE, there's a whole big thing right now. I think it's part of like a bit, I'm hoping, for like building up tension for an upcoming story. But R-Truth's contract was not renewed. And the last like show that he appeared on, he was wearing altered versions of John Cena's merch because John Cena is doing like, I assume, the end of his career heel turn. And so R-Truth started wearing John Cena's merch, but like crossing out the can't, and it just says, you see me. And like, I just like, I've loved R-Truth since I was a kid. So like when he like took his break from wrestling, I was just like, oh no, like I thought something bad happened to him. And so when he came back, like even as an adult, I was like, dude, I'm so fucking glad he's back. Cause like nowadays in WWE, you have all these characters who like their whole persona is like, I'm serious and stoic. They cannot survive a minute in the ring with R-Truth. That man's career is breaking people's character. And so it's just like, I genuinely just enjoy him as a wrestler. And so I started like going into a rabbit hole and just like, and it turns out that like he, for the most part, isn't putting on a bit when he gets on. Like, that's just who he is. He's cool. Just this goofy guy.
Love that for him.
Yeah, but that's exactly it. So like wanting to like meet that person in person, to be like, I want to see the goofy guy in person. Like that's I feel like is so fucking real. But yeah, no. But that was my topical question of like, who would you get like they're in person? Like obviously,
I'd absolutely lose it if I got the chance to meet R-Truth in person.
Yeah.
R-Truth, if you're listening to the podcast, hit me up, dog.
Hit me up, dog. Yeah, definitely hit us up. If Melissa McCarthy, I would love to.
Aaron Zach, baby!
Listen, please. Laura, just so you know, I still have, Aaron Zach is one of the people that I have notifications on for Cameo, because she did that for a while, but now she doesn't. So I was like, if she ever comes back, because I wanted to get like something for you for your birthday, and so
Kitty's out for my birthday from Aaron Zach, please, dear Lord. I don't ask for much.
That's OnlyFans. That's not Cameo. I'm gonna have.
She has an OnlyFans. Please ask for me.
You won't ask for yourself, but please ask.
I will. I am subscribed. It's free. She don't post no like revealing
she's
stuff.
got those like boudoir shoots that you mentioned, right? Where she's kind of like just in like lingerie.
Yeah, where it's just like ass out a little bit, but nothing like revealing, nothing crazy.
A little bit, just as a treat.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, literally as a treat. And I'm like, but I need to see whole. Like,
she's not gonna want to talk to you, Laura. R-Truth might hit us up because we're Melissa McCarthy might want to hit us up, but I feel like she's gonna be like, I don't want to show Laura.
Yeah, this episode's gonna drop, and then somehow she's gonna find out about it somehow, and then I'm gonna go be like, oh my god, like I'm gonna go to a convention that she's at, and I'm gonna be like, oh my god, like I've been a huge fan. She's gonna be like, security.
It's just the Katana Fish hoodie that you're gonna wear.
There's gonna be two outcomes to this. You're gonna see her, and you're gonna be like, I'm such a huge fan, and she just goes, oh, I know. Or like you said, she's gonna be like, security, I need assistance now.
Well, Laura, think about this. If you went up to her and you were like, I'm such a huge fan, and she went, I know. Tell me you wouldn't just fucking turn into a puddle on the ground, though, because it's like, you know who I am.
If she said, I know, if I was like, I'm such a huge fan, I love your work, and then she was like, oh, I know. I'd be on my knees. I'd fall right down to the ground. It would probably be the first time I'd pass out. Straight up, I'd see black and that's it. So what are we keeping it?
Keep it.
Keep it away from me.
Unless you're paying.
Keep it away from me.
Unless you're putting stacks in my bank account, keep it away from me.
Keep it away from me. Damn right.
That's such a fucking good one. Keep it away from me.
Keep it away from me.
Amen.